This is Digital Scouting calling. Trends from around the world. From Singapore.
George Kesselman.
Hello.
From Paris, France.
Joel.
From Dubai, UAE.
Namekan. Great. Cool.
And your host, from the rainy but beautiful city of Hamburg, Germany, Dr. Robin Kiera.
Have you seen what might be really interesting in your regions and your countries? Did you see a change of customer behavior in the last years, and how does it look like? Not only insurance, but especially outside.
Maybe I go first again. For us, I guess the biggest change that is seen in our region is places like China. And in China, I think there's this huge movement towards digital and adopting digital through whatever transactions are being done, both in terms of payments as well as the big shift in terms of the actually consuming insurance via the same channel. So what's happening in China is that people are getting accustomed to transacting everything online, and the movement is very much towards a frictionless insurance. So whatever you're buying something online, insurance becomes very much embedded as part of that, and people are used to consuming that, and the scale is just tremendous when it comes to the transactions like that online in China. The rest of the region is still fairly early in that journey, I would say, or in terms of the digital consumption. We have a number of players that kind of went into the digital first insurance play, but so far the traction, because the products for them has been really traditional products, so far the traction for them has been pretty limited, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, in France, when I see that you are speaking about a huge move in France, let's remember we are in France. A huge move. It takes time. There are no huge move in France and maybe in Europe in general. The most important here is that maybe right now all the incumbents have understood that they need to change. Everybody knows that to improve their models, but right now they don't know what they need to do. They know they need to change something, but they don't know what. So lots of trials of things. Lots of companies are trying to integrate an Insurtech or to change something, but they don't really know by which side of the problem to start. Another thing that is moving is the announce or non-announce from Amazon last year, which tried to hire some people in London to launch something on the European market on insurance, and lots of incumbents here in France are waiting to see what will happen in the months to come.
Fantastic. So for Dubai, first thing that I would like to set over here is to understand the market that we're addressing, or in the GCC or in the MENA region, let's say. The market over here, the demographical market over here, we're looking at average age of the user in between, or a normal person in between 25 to 32. So it's a relatively very young.
But continue, please. Sorry.
There's a relatively young population over there. Now, what really happens is that we need to understand if it's a young population world over, there's certain common denominators. Some common denominators are the behavioral changes that we're experiencing and we're seeing into the similar user world over. So it's no different than any other region when it comes to the MENA region or the GCC region itself. So what's really happening is that this region has been a very strong adopter when it comes to digital technologies or digital way forward. So it's actually reported after China and India, UAE is one of those countries that has really adopted well to digital technologies, and 77%, I believe, of the individuals prefer doing their transactions or whatever activities they're doing digitally. And in the next 10 years, as blockchain is kicking in, and at the same time as these new platforms are kicking in, you have seen a significant rise and success of these platform economies in this region as well. Why? Because let's go back again to the demographical aspect, because we're actually catering to the millennials. So millennials in the West and millennials in the Far East would not be different to millennials in the Middle East, where the market is majorly, or I would say majority of the market is full of millennials. So the adoption has been significant. The emergence of technologies when it comes to financial services has been relatively on the slower side, but when it comes to other platforms, it has seen a significant rise, and that's why you see, I mean, UAE itself is housing a couple of unicorns, and a few more expected as well in the coming years.
Yeah, well, Germany has been quite dialectic. On the one hand, in entertainment and music, you see the adoption of platforms. Everybody is buying a lot of things on Amazon. You see the success of Spotify. You see the success of delivery services in the food area from traditional supermarket chains, but also new players. So you see that the behavior of customers in consumption, in retail, has changed dramatically. You had a lot of large multi-billion-dollar companies go broke because they did not adapt their business model, especially in the retail space, or even in the e-commerce space. Like we had some old-school e-commerce companies that sold via catalogs and mail, but they didn't adapt to the internet and they went broke. Once the biggest companies in the country. So we see the change in customer behavior in Germany. On the one hand, that. On the other hand, when it comes to finance and insurance, there you have the prejudice, at least, that it says no, and a lot of people inside the industry say no, the customers don't want a lot of digital services there, and they trust in the one-to-one interaction. I strongly believe it's just a time gap. Sooner or later, also the experiences of smoothness, fearless, seamless service in other industries they expect from their insurances and banks too. An example, for example, how radical the shift already has been. We have government-owned TV stations here that are not famous for their exciting shows. More to say that we call them retirement TV. And to show the dramatic situation there, the average age of an average customer, of an average user, is over 60. The average. So you see already an implosion of certain customer demographics in that space. Where do these people watch TV? Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Google, or other channels. So the situation is, for some areas, dramatic. Insurance industry, not yet. But it's coming. We have different companies like N26, which is a bank. We have some promising insurtech startups that are doing some interesting stuff. So I think sooner or later, and some incumbents doing interesting things, I think sooner or later, this change in customer behavior will also hit the insurance market. And I am not sure if most insurers are actually ready to do that.